which is a little bit north of here. That's at Jane and Highway 7. So next time you're on Jane and Highway 7, think of that. But you can see how muddy it was. And I have another one here which shows that even more. That look horrible? That's a little bit of our district as well. That's north of Weston and Lassie. So most of the streets were absolutely muddy tracks like that. There were some plank roads. Like I said, Dufferin is. Islington was also a plank road, and I think Weston was as well. And basically what a plank road was they took big strips of wood and they stuck them down in mud, and then you drove your carriage on it. Now, anybody who's ever put wood in mud knows that what happens is that the wood rots. So you'd be trundling up the street and your carriage would fall over because you're getting stuck in the rut, and that happened constantly. And it really annoyed people that they usually had to pay tolls on those roads. So it really annoyed them that they were paying for the upkeep of the roads, which were notoriously bad. We also had one road really macadamized, and that's Yonge Street. So that Yonge Street was by far the best road. It had macadamization, was when you mixed gravel, a lot of gravel together. It's kind of like what we think of as a dirt road today. So that was by far the best road to travel on. But one thing that everybody knew about York and about Toronto was it was muddy, which is why Toronto was called Muddy York. And part of the reason it was so muddy is because there were so many creeks running through it, like the Black Creek. And what generally people knew was that it was better to travel by sleigh. And this is a picture from the middle of the 19th century, people traveling by sleigh. All of the socializing, all of the visiting, anything like that would take place in the wintertime because it was much, much easier to get from point A to point B on the snow than it was to try to get through those horrible muddy streets. Plus, if you're a farmer, you're pretty busy in the summer, not so busy in the winter. So that's why a lot of that traveling went by often. The other way people moved around was by train. I don't know if you can see these green dots here. But these are showing us train lines that were here starting in the 1850s. They were certainly in use by the 1860s. One of the biggest ways that they helped the farmers living up in the Black Creek area was by taking their crops down to Toronto, where they could be put on boats to be taken away and shipped to other places. It also brought the mail up, and the way the trains work with the mail is the postmaster in each community would stick the mail on a post at the railway station. And as the train came by, they would have a big sort of stick thing that came out and grabbed the mail bag and put it on the train and dump the other one out. And they would just do that all the way up the line. It also, of course, took people up and down. And what I think is very interesting about the train lines is that they're basically where the GO lines are today. And I think that's really interesting. It tells us what directions people wanted to travel then and still want to travel today. I find that connection really